So right here, we've got a TechYes delivery that is on the back of another 2 PCs that got hawked earlier today. Now, you guys want some behind the scenes stuff, you want more content. This is the only thing I can think of to bridge the two together because I am flat out. And I made a vlog with prices recently. I predict they will go down, but again, you've got to be accustomed to the market and certain special times. Here in Australia, it's currently tax return time because our financial year ticks over from July, not the start of the year in January like most other countries. So that means people are cashed up. That's going to pretty much collide with another thing that's going on right now, and that is the government's going to hand out another round of stimuluses. So this is all gearing up for a pretty good month in July, at least until the 20th. So the next 10 days are going to be full on. But damn, this stuff is going out super quick. I've got to head to Brisbane as well because there's some parts that I have to collect before 4 p.m. for a competition that I'm doing, upcoming competition. And I also just finished a TechYes workout. So I got to go freshen up and then we're going to hit the road. So we just got up to Brisbane and there was heaps of traffic, so we missed out on getting our stuff. So we're going to see if we can drop these keyboards off now to someone that needs them up in this area. So hopefully this trip wasn't all for nothing, but it's always the way. When you're kind of in a rush, things just go wrong. We're now back at the TechYes studio with another build that's complete. And this one, you can change the LEDs on the fly from the front panel, which the front panel has also got RGB on it. This is a Vega 64 build. I got the Vega 64 off a friend who was upgrading his PC. And so now we've got a 3300X, 16 gigabytes of RAM and a Vega 64. Now, we're trading this for a PC for 500 bucks. But, I mean, sorry, I'm getting $800 and they're giving me a PC with a Ryzen 5 3600, 32 gigabytes of RAM and a GTX 1050 Ti. So, I would say overall, I guess they just want a PC that's ready to game. That's why they're trading what they've got, even though it'd be fairly easy for them to get some really good performance out of what they have already. Some people just like to have a brand new build and it looks bling bling. So yeah, we'll see how this trade goes and we'll see what comes in this thing's place. So we can see this PC that got traded in does need some TechYes loving. It's got just all these stickers that I want to remove, and then the inside is very dirty. So we're going to get to a little bit of work here and see what we can do. So now we've pulled out the Ryzen 5 3600, 32 gigabytes of RAM, X470 Aorus Ultra, I think this one is, and a VS450 power supply. And we've finished off the build, so that's all done now. And the Windows, I've got to see what this is. The screen's flicking, so I might have got hosed on the 1050 Ti, who knows. But this deal right here is really good so far because we're going to re-flip this box right here once we get it 100% working. We'll flip that off and hopefully recoup all the costs back so that we get a free Ryzen 5 3600, X470, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and we've changed over the power supply for something, just a basic power supply because the 1050 Ti really doesn't need that much, so you can pull out those old FSP power supplies and they work really well on low 200 watt builds. So that we can use for a mid-range build, and we've got here, I guess, a lot of hustled value out of that trade-in. So we've now replaced the motherboard, and this motherboard here ended up actually being faulty in a really rare way, in that once you install Windows and boot up to Windows, the PCIe port doesn't work properly. And because it's only one 16X slot on this board, we need that slot for our graphics card. So what we're going to do here is just take the cooler off, take the CPU out, and replace it to a different board, and we should be still good to go. We should be able to make another budget combo out of these parts right here. So unfortunate, but that's the way things go. I mean, with PCs and stuff like that, when you test through things and you get your build ready and you stress test it if something's wrong, you just quickly trial and error what's wrong, and then yeah, throw the part out. Like this part, I mean, I haven't seen this problem before. I actually haven't seen this problem before where a PCIe port is cutting out when you're installing Windows of all things, and not when you're in the BIOS or anytime sooner, because we tried a different power supply, that wasn't it. Tried different memory even, that wasn't it. So it could, I mean, there is a small chance it could be the CPU, but I guess we'll find that out too. We won't chuck the board out until we've changed it over to this board right here, and then we've only, via trial and error and process of elimination, made it sure that the board was the last factor at fault. So yeah, weird problem. That's what happens, I guess. Just another day in the life of tech, yes. And another thing too, it could also be the motherboard BIOS, but I read the BIOS notes for this board and there was nothing about PCIe compatibility. So yeah, we'll try it out on this, and if this is all working absolutely fine, then we can try a BIOS update later. But yeah, I don't know. Let us know if you have seen or heard of a similar problem with this motherboard, or maybe an AN3 Plus motherboard for that matter. And now, after all that, we have here an empty table. Well, kind of. We've got a build that I can kind of piece together, but I still want to go get my order from yesterday, which I missed out on. And I ordered a 2070 Super for this build, plus a 240GB SSD. So if we do all this right, we can turn this hustle into a big flip. So that's what I'm kind of thinking here, depending on how good the memory is too, because I've got to try and tune the memory up. But it's looking pretty good so far. Let's see if we can finally make it to this store without hitting traffic and missing out by the buzzer. But also, since I needed a 2070 Super and they've got it for a really good price, I guess it all works out in the end. I'll see you soon, mate. I'll be about probably, yeah, I'll probably be about an hour, I'm guessing, because I've got to stop into Umart. So yeah, I'll see you soon, Les. All right, catch you, mate.
Okay, bye.
Right, bye, mate. So we actually made it on time to Umart today, and we've got the 2070 Super, 28 Ti for this competition, and the i7-10700. So this competition is going to be pretty cool now that I'm seeing all the parts here. And I think hopefully after doing the testing in the recent videos that we've done too with Grounded, I think I can win me this competition against these other YouTubers. But what we did right now is we called up Les because we're in Brisbane. We might as well see what he's got cracking, and he's got 3 1TB hard drives. So we are going to hit the boot switch and we're going to get on the road and get crack-a-lackin'. This is the Tech Yes Stinger too, if you guys are wondering. There's a new slogan here, and that is Tech Yes Stingin'. And so we just got back from Les's place now. We just picked up 2 cosmetically blemished i5-4590s. They were 90 a pop, and they came with 8GB of RAM. And I do like these for low-powered GPUs, like a 1650 Super. Goes in here perfectly fine. Then we got 6 hard drives. 3 of those were 500GB. 3 of those were 1TB. And so that was a good deal. I mean, I always need hard drives. He also had 2 4GB sticks of RAM. This time around, he's like DDR3 has gone up in price, so I had to pay 30 Aussie dollars for even 8GB of RAM. That's how bad RAM prices are at the moment. But I mean, if you need it, sometimes if you need that one component and everything else is cheap, you got to cough up the piper for it, unfortunately. Then Les chucked in a few of these adapters. I always find these come in handy, especially if you run out of ports or there's limited GPU ports, or a port could be even rusted or something like that. And then we got two 24-inch monitors here, which we got for $55 a pop. They're in really good condition. So I was like, you know what? I kind of need some monitors. So all up, we got here 440 total Aussie dollary dues for this combo, but we got over here this upcoming project for this, so like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids build. And so I'm really looking forward to this competition, but of course, we got the 2070 Super that managed to get thrown in there, and I did get a couple of spares. So that is gonna be this LDO3. I've heard some really good things about it. Apparently it's a really nice case to work with, which on Mini ITX, it's always a hard thing to work with that. But now we've got the 2070 Super, we've got a power supply, hard drive, and an SSD for this too, because I ran out of 240s. So we now got that. We can now build ourselves up something quickly and see how it turns out. Why not? And now here is the build fully finished, and it took us about 10 or 15 minutes to build this up. It's a really easy case to build in. And I gotta say, I'm really shocked at Gamdius, at least in Australia. Their value for money is through the roof. I mean, I do like this RGB IO panel up the top, and you've got the LED control, and you don't have to worry about any LED headers on the motherboard, which I really do like, that you've got simple RGB control. But thing is, this thing costs 99 Aussie dollars, and the airflow is actually pretty good in it. The noise is pretty low, and you get 4 fans. So I think they've nailed it. Like, this is my favorite case in terms of value out there, easily by far at the moment. But with that out of the way, this build is ready to go. Let's sit down and talk about what has come out of this weekend's random Tech Yes vlog. So there we have it, basically a hustle vlog over the last 2 days, where I'm basically cleaning out my whole studio of all this stuff, because I want to start fresh in my head about what prices I've paid for stuff, and sort of just clear out all this other stuff that I don't know where I intend to use it. And so part of that, of course, is just putting gaming PCs together, picking out the cream of the crop on that stuff, putting it all together, and then making a value there. But another thing is too, is you saw with that trade-in, right? Never turn down a trade-in, especially even if something may be even slightly faulty. In this case, we got that trade-in and it just looked terrible at first. There was all these stickers, the case was very cheap, but inside we had like a hidden treasure trove, an X470 Ultra, and then this Ryzen 5 3600, 32 gigabytes of RAM, a decent power supply, a 1050 Ti, and so and 1 terabyte hard drive. And so that to me was easily worth the 500 Aussie dollars they wanted trade-in value for it. Plus that enabled me to sell my gaming PC for asking price, which was awesome. So that is how I guess trade-ins can really work in your favor. But another thing is too, is we then get that build and we're like, okay, what can we quickly do with this? Because it seems like in Australia, and this is what I said in my previous video when I said prices will go down, you got to look for hiccups in the market. And I think in the next month in Australia is going to be great, because there's a thing called tax return time here. Because our financial year is different, people are getting all their tax returns and they're buying PCs, but also very soon there's going to be government money flowing through the economy. So July is going to be a very healthy month for PC sales if you're in Australia. But after that, you'll probably again see that those trends will come into effect. That's how I feel. But in the meantime, take advantage of it. When it rains, it pours, and you should have your buckets out in the outside and just collecting all the rain you can. And so that's what Tech Yes doing behind the scenes, and I recommend doing the same. Don't worry, I preach what I do. So yeah, I forgot the saying. It's like, do as I say and do sort of thing. Another thing that was important to me was that RTX 2070 Super price. In Australia, that is easily the best price on an RTX 2070 Super I can find. The Galax model is quite big, it's quite healthy. Another good thing about the Galax model is that the power consumption is quite low compared to some of the overclocked RTX 2070 Supers out there on the market. So that means even if you use a cheaper case than we did today, not that I recommend it, you'll still not have to worry too much about thermals. Though the Gamdius case that we used here today is just that 99 Aussie dollar sweet spot case. I still can't get over how good that value for money that case is. Like, Gamedius came from making these mediocre keyboards and headsets. Now they're bringing out some quality cases. So if you do get the chance to try one, I do recommend giving them a whirl. Because anyway, that's at least what I'm rocking here at the moment. Though back onto that RTX 2070 Super price. We got that for 75 Aussie dollars. That's ready to go at the brand new Umart shop. You got warranty on that. There's no haggling, there's no hustling involved. It's such a good price. But at the same time, you're seeing RTX 2070s non-supers used for like $700 plus. And it's kind of like the used market is, in ways, it's just so up and down at the moment. You can, of course, get really good deals, but then you see all these items on there, and it's just like, are people actually buying these? And I scratch my head because, yeah, what's the point when the new market is offering even better value than the used market? And that should not be happening. So basically, in a nutshell, find the best prices, whether it's new or used, and piece it together and create good value. Basically, back in the day of eBay, when I was doing that, my nickname from family and friends was Bilo. That's the first 4 letters of my last name. And people would call me, they'd say Bilo, and my reply would be sell high. And basically that is the name of the game, and the biggest commodity you've got, just like the guy who came around with that trade-in, he just said, I hate computers, like in terms of building them. I just want something that's ready to go, it's all new, it's working fine, and he just couldn't be bothered upgrading his system. And so that's the kind of business that people pay for. You have a talent, and that is you can quickly whip up PCs, install Windows, tune them up, get them all ready, and if there are any problems or compatibility issues, you can iron that out. So people who get these PCs don't have any problems, because a lot of people who don't know how to build a PC will get stuck on something and they'll waste days and days trying to do it, or they could potentially bend pins or something like that. You're taking all that hassle away. I mean, basically at the end of the day, that is the service you're offering. And I do see a lot of comments, especially locally, where people sell PCs and people say, oh, you're charging more money than it costs to build. And it's like, of course, because you are offering a service. And in this world, at least in Australia, you get paid for a service. That is, I mean, go ask a builder if he's going to build you a house for free, or just cost of the parts. Because at least from what I remember with building, is there's a contract called cost plus, and the plus is the builder's fee. Anyway, with that aside, keep on rocking and don't stop stocking. Just like this question of the day here, which comes from Dexter's56. I don't know why I'm trying to tie that in like a smooth transition. It was a terrible segue that made no sense. But we got here, will the X58 UD5 work with an X5650 or an X5675 Xeon? I have currently a i7-930. I need to know if it can handle the 6 core because of the support list that only shows 4 cores and 6 core i7s. Basically, just go look on some forums and see, or if there's some results out there with this UD5 working with the Xeon, then it'll definitely work. But I do recommend before taking that i7 out, update to the latest BIOS and then put the Xeon in, and it should be all good to go. At least what I quickly checked when I did a Google search, the UD5 does indeed work with the Xeon X5650, so you should be good to go. X5675 is going to give you a bit more headroom, a bit more overclocking, it's a better bin, and that's about it. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, then you know what to do, hit that like button for us. Also, if you got any questions or comments, then drop a comment in the comment section below. And if you stayed this far and you're enjoying that content, then be sure to hit that sub button, ring that bell, and I'll catch you guys in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye. That's probably someone like, yo, I'm super hungry for this game PC right now.